Okay, I'm at Mrs. Kelly's house here in Greenwich, in the backyard. So these are green velvet boxwoods. Those are green mountain boxwoods. Everything has leaf miner, so these need to get treated right away because you'll kill your plants if you don't. This year, you're not going to really notice a major difference as far as health. Next year, when you get the big flush of spring growth, you'll see a marketable improvement as far as how the plants look. All right. Also, everything needs to be pruned. So boxwoods, holly, boxwoods, rhododendrons, your birch tree off the corner of the house needs to be pruned. In the fall, maybe you decide you want to rejuvenate your lilac in the corner by cutting that down about 1/3 or 40%. The cherry, so this is a cherry tree over here. These are paniculata hydrangeas. They're just starting to flower now. Rhododendrons already finished blooming. Drift roses look healthy but need to be pruned. Mophead hydrangea, as I explained, might not flower this year because it blooms on last year's wood. This is a cherry tree, a Kwanzan cherry tree. And yeah, this you should end up removing as soon as possible because it's either going to fall and crush your shed, but you can see there's a big hole in the center. It's all hollow and the insects are just eating it inside out. So I would suggest removing it before it falls and damages either your swing set or your shed. So that's something I would do right away. I'll put you in touch with a tree company that can do that for you. Then you got Taxus, also known as yew, holly, azaleas, which finished blooming. You'll notice, is sloping all down in this area, so all the water is leaching into this area, which is killing some of the plants. So you have about a 15-foot stretch that you might want to put in water-tolerant shrubs along this corner. Okay. Then we talked about removing all the forsythia. That's another paniculata hydrangea and a viburnum. So that's paniculata hydrangea and that's a viburnum growing right next to each other, and that's something called a woodgelia. But the idea would be potentially removing everything along this side to enlarge the backyard, because right now it's probably 10, 12 feet wide, and you could probably narrow it down to, say, 4 feet wide. You do have different sunlight conditions, so roughly half of the distance from the fence to here gets more sun, and the other half gets less sun. So that's something to think about when you're thinking about what plant selections would work best in here. One option is you start where the forsythia, where the spirea end. Those are spirea. Where those end, you start and you rip everything out and replace it. That's one idea. Other ideas, you say, okay, I'm going to remove everything and have more of a consistent feel going along the whole edge. So that's a landscape enhancement that you might consider. We can give you a quote for opening the irrigation system, and then we can also check for any repairs that might be needed. We do that in-house. The lawn is not terrible, not great, somewhere in between, but if we start taking over the lawn now and we're going to kind of limp through this summer, not going to see any major improvement. When you're going to see the improvement is going to be in the fall when we core aerate it and seed it. And at that point, we're going to be able to thicken up the lawn, introduce new seed, get rid of more of these weeds, because you're definitely going to have quite a few weeds this summer, and the lawn's going to look worse rather than better until September. So just be aware, expectations are that we're kind of inheriting all the issues that you see now, and you can start fixing that come the fall, okay? But you still want to start with a service now to try to rectify or start the process of rectifying the lawn, okay? You have an irrigation system, that's half the battle, is water. Everything else is just doing the proper sequence, correct timing, using the best products for lawn fertilizing, and you'll get a really nice lawn, okay? Also, we talked about removing the St. John's wort, which is in front of the hydrangeas. There's probably 5-6 plants in front there. We talked about potentially removing. Okay. So for the front of the house, I would end up cutting back this juniper, cutting everything back, trying to remove some of these invasive vines that are kind of covering all the plants. Cut this back as much as possible. Removing the dead branch out of the tree. It's a Crimson King maple tree. It's gonna keep on getting bigger. Another mophead hydrangea, holly, emerald green arborvitaes. And the lawn is starting to brown out again from lack of water. So you probably do want to get that irrigation system started as soon as you can. Over here, you've got something called nutsedge. See how this type of grass is growing like twice as fast as your regular lawn. So we can spray it now to try to kill it. Next spring, we can use a granular product to try to help prevent it if it really bothers you. But it's common. We had a lot of rain last year, so you can see where the water runs along the street here. You get a lot of nutsedge, and along the back you have a few patches of nutsedge as well. It just looks ugly, so it's something that again you can try to treat over time. So that's it. I'm gonna put together a quote for you and shoot it to you as soon as I can. Thanks a lot.